Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Webinar session number 3, actually our 4th session of the day when you count the fireside that we had first thing this morning. But yes, welcome back again to this session from the Retail Bulletin, the digital transformation strategy that we've been running all day. This is our penultimate event, Invigorating Physical Store Sales Post-Lockdown. And we're going to be talking about that with 2 brilliant panelists today. It's a cozy session this afternoon, but with 2 fantastic panelists, I'm sure you will agree, and you'll get to meet them very shortly. Thanks for coming along. Again, if you've been with us all day and you've come to all of the sessions, thanks for sticking with us. If you've just dipped in for this one, you're also super welcome. You'll know if you're a regular at TRB sessions that we love questions. So depending on what device you're on, somewhere on your screen, there is a Q&A button. Please do use it. We'd love you to get involved. My promise to you as your moderator is to make sure that any question that gets asked gets answered. So yes, exercise your rights to questions and use that Q&A button. I'm Darren, I'll take care of the session today. You won't be hearing so much from me, you'll be hearing from these gentlemen on the screen with me, but I will take care of events and moderate us through to have a really compelling session. Thanks to the Retail Bulletin for inviting me back to do these. I love doing the sessions, so thank you for that. I'm always happy to be hired. For my sins, I have other jobs as well. I run a consultancy called Williams Harding, which is 4 years old now, unbelievably, and I'm also the exec chair at Scrubbed, men's skincare brand. So without further ado, let's meet the gentlemen on the screen, hear who they are, and we can get talking about some of the good stuff. So Dee, if I may start with you, who are you, sir? Tell us a bit more about you.
Yeah, hi, hello everybody. Pleasure to be here. And my name is G. I come from Brazil, live in Germany since 2007, and I have a very strong retail background. Worked many years for MediaMarkt. Saturn is a big consumer electronic retailer in Germany and Europe. And there I have started really on the sales floor. And when I was working on the sales floor, I saw many things that they do really good in retail, and many other things that we could improve on retail. And then I started creating the concept of the latest. After that, I moved to the headquarters of MediaMarkt, where I was responsible for the digital POS throughout Europe. So dealing with a lot of digital solutions, trying to make them better, create a more better experience for customers and those kind of things. And at the end, I started working at Avant-Garde. Avant-Garde is one of the biggest brand experience agencies in the world, with offices from São Paulo to Shanghai. And after meeting Martin Schnack, the founder of Avant-Garde, I talked to him about the concept of the latest, about what are the issues on retail today and maybe how we can make retail different for the future. And he loved the ideas and he said, okay, let's do this. So this is how the concept of the latest started. What is the latest? The latest is a platform for innovative products, for startups, for big brands to launch their products and bring those products to a really cool community of innovation seekers, people that are looking for the newest products, that want to experience them. And for the brands, we help them with many different digital solutions and also with in-store analytics. So we have over 16 sensors in the ceiling and track each square meter of the store and give all those informations back to the brands.
It's great to have you with us. And you're over in Munich, right?
Exactly. We are placed in Munich. They have headquarters in Munich, but the store is in Berlin, the first one. And now we are planning the second store in London.
And that's Munich behind you, your background?
No, this is the store in Berlin, as you can see here. So unfortunately, I'm not in the store today, but yeah, this is our store in Berlin.
Okay, good. Well, listen, it's awesome to have you with us. We're looking forward to hearing more from you and finding out more about the latest as well. Did I hear you just say London entries on the cards as well?
Exactly. We are now looking for the perfect site in London. We have found some cool things on the Regent Street near to Piccadilly Circus. We have the store in Berlin on Kurfürstendamm. It's like the Regent Street in London, and we look for those kind of spots where we have a very big footfall.
Okay, cool. We'll look forward to talking some more over the next half an hour or so. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
David, you are from my favorite cycle brand. Tell us about you, sir.
Thank you very much. So my name's David Stacey. I'm the Commercial and Operations Director here at Ribble Cycles. So Ribble Cycles is the UK's leading premium direct-to-consumer bike brand. And what that means is we sell our bikes directly to the end consumer. The bike market is still very much dominated by independents in the UK. So most bike brands sell to an independent bike shop who then sells to the end consumer. We don't do that. We sell directly to the end consumer, and we have a network of our own showrooms, one of which is behind me here, which is our Clitheroe store in Lancashire, just north of Manchester in the north of England. Which we've recently opened. We opened it on the reopening of retail in the UK on the 12th of April this year, which was a really significant opening for us. It's our flagship store, and it has a huge amount of tech and innovation in it, which I'm looking forward to talking to you all about. Prior to being at Ribble, my background is I worked and started my career at Halfords, and much like Dee, actually, I started on the shop floor. Spent a lot of time there, and it was an interesting time to be in retail. It was early 2000s. Click and collect was just starting to happen. We were getting to grips with all those dynamics of customers coming in with bits of paper to collect orders, and that feels like a very, very long time ago now. And then after working with Halfords for a while, working at their head office there in buying and retail functions, I moved across to the cooperative group in fast-moving consumer goods, working in their pharmacy division before moving to Ribble about 6 years ago. So yeah, interesting time to be in retail, I think.
Great to have you with us. And so Ribble, I can't buy a Ribble bike anywhere else other than a Ribble channel.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, you can buy a Ribble bike through any of our showrooms or on our website, but it's always through Ribble. Yeah, that's right.
David and I were talking before we went live, actually, and I found out about this place called Clitheroe that I'd never heard of before. So if you Google it like I did, it looks pretty nice. So go check out Clitheroe. We're like the tourist board for Clitheroe today. It's funny, though, when you look back, isn't it, when you just sort of summarising your career there, that things that, that weren't that long ago seem like they were really long ago, certainly in terms of technology and how far we've come. It's quite astonishing to look back. I was at Orange in the early days of the Orange brand in the late 90s, 98. I joined them for 5 years. And I can remember demonstrating texting to customers in stores, and really showing customers how this texting thing was going to work. And some people were like, I'm not sure it's going to catch on. It's a bit clunky. But yeah, that just seems crazy now when you think what these devices here can do for us. Welcome, guys. Let's get talking. So Dee, I'm going to start with you, if I may. Looking forward to finding out more about you and the latest. At what point does digitizing a store negatively impact the customer experience, and how can retailers avoid making mistakes like that?
Very good question. When I was working for MediaMarkt at Saturn, we had around Europe over 25 digital solutions in the store. And dealing with all those solutions, one of the things that I saw was which is the added value for the customer. And we started dealing with this point, and at the end we saw that only 4 solutions really had an added value for the customer. All the others were just there because it was exactly on this time we have to digitalize the stores. We need to bring screens inside of the stores. We need to bring many things. But nobody asked really, why should we do this? And one of the things that really was struggling us is about content. Many people don't think about it. They say, okay, well, let's put digital solutions in the store, but where does the content come from? And I would really recommend to anyone that is thinking about digitalizing the store, think about where are the content coming, especially in our case, like with the latest, where we have many different brands inside of the store. Even big brands, they don't have content sometimes, the content you need. It's different when you have your own store, but with your own products. But when you're dealing with different brands, you really need to take care of it, because sometimes the content, it's a bottleneck. And always think about what is the added value. So at the latest, when we are creating the store, we had some other concepts that are very similar to the latest, like beta in America. It's a famous concept. Beside each product, you have an iPad. When in this iPad, you can see pictures of product, you can see videos of the products. It's a really cool idea. You can see many things, you can interact with the iPad, but at the end, this is not the right approach for what we are doing, because we have a store with innovative products. So we want that customers have the chance to experience the product, to touch the product, to spend time with the product. So I saw on competitors that customers are spending more time playing on the iPad, looking at the videos and the photos, instead of interacting with the product. And then I took the decision just some weeks before we started the store to do not put any iPad beside the products, because we saw that it doesn't work. People are not spending the time with the products. So in this case, I always say, you need to think about why should be this digital solution there? Why should the product have an iPad on the side? You have employees that knows about the product, they can spend the time with the customer and explain then. So if I'm looking for technical data about a product, or if I'm looking for a nice video, a nice picture, I have my own mobile phone on my hand, and I can look for this technical data on the internet. We on the store, we need to give the customers things that they don't get online. This is the experience. What is the story behind the product? What is the story behind the product? Why this product was created for? What is the story behind the brand? And those are the information that they don't find normally online, even only if they research a lot. So this is what I say, digital solutions are good. We also have screens on the store. We do also have some few iPads on the store to get some surveys and those kind of things, to learn about our customers. But we don't have we don't say, oh, we need to have all kind of solutions. The most valuable solution that we have in the store at really the inside analytics, the sensors that we have in the store, because with these sensors that we have, we learn a lot about our customers. And this is not a solution. This is something that the customer at the moment, he don't see, he don't know that we are tracking everything. The customers, they don't know about this digital solution, but at the back end, we can learn a lot about our customers, and we can, with all those information, enhance the experience of the customers in the store. So sometimes the best solution are not the solution that the customers see and they can touch. The solutions are the solutions on the back end that can help you improve the experience in the store.
Thank you for that. And it's interesting, isn't it, that when you think about digital negatively impacting a store, because it's, retailers just assume any sort of tech or digitalization they add is going to make things better, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I think that was some really good insight. Thank you, sir. Hold that thought. I'm going to come back to you. David over at Ribble. Digital sales, some retailers have always thought of them as the enemy of physical retail. I guess you guys at Ribble see that a bit differently.
Yeah, I think, as you say, I think that has been the prevailing feeling. And to go back to what we were just all kind of reminiscing to in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was almost an inconvenience for the store when somebody turned up with a bit of paper with an order number on it, because the store colleague had to go off and find it. They had to somehow work the antiquated computer system to raise that order up and find out exactly what the customer was there for. And I can well remember customers almost being made to feel to blame that the store didn't know they were coming in to collect things. And that is definitely still present in some executions of what I think people would like to call omnichannel retail, where the customer is still pushed into a back area of the store to turn up and do their click and collect. They're ignored. They're often kind of left to self-serve on something like a tablet, as Dee was talking about. And I would definitely echo what Dee was saying at the beginning there around, I think you really have to think about how you're going to implement these digital solutions, because just sticking iPads on the shop floor or sticking a set of demo headphones out or whatever it might be, if there's no infrastructure to support that, no desire from the store teams to make it work, it just ends up forgotten about and sat there. And I think that has all too often been the hallmark of digitizing traditional retail. It's kind of like additional workload that nobody really wants to do. And that really isn't how we think about it. I would like to think we are a true omnichannel business, and we're digital first. So we come at things from, right, we've done this great job of making a digital experience for our customers. How can we make that richer, and how can we extend it into store? How can we make it a crystallization of our website? And doing that is very helpful on a number of levels, approaching it that way around, rather than thinking, well, how can I make my store smart or digital? Because you put in what is necessary to the customer. You don't put things in to just add kind of bells and whistles. And for me, there's really two things that are really important here. There has to be a reason for the customer to want to come in, but also when you're thinking about an environment where the customer has a choice to buy online or come in store, for the business, there has to be, if you want to get your customers in store, there has to be a commercial imperative to do that. Otherwise, you're just paying lip service to it and just doing it because it feels like you're justifying the retail estate's existence. And for us, they're really powerful motivators. We want to make the experience absolutely brilliant for the customer and give them something that they can't get online. Exactly as Dee was talking about, we want the product to be the star. And you can probably see behind me in our store in Clitheroe that what we've done in a normal bike shop, bikes are kind of lined up, cheek by jowl, jammed in. You sometimes have to ask a colleague if you want to get the bike out. That is not how we want to do it. We want the product to be a piece of art that the customer can walk around 360 degrees. They can fully appreciate it. They can take it for a test ride. We want to make that experience really worthwhile. And it's one of the reasons we put in some of the really interesting tech into the store, like our huge 4K screen, which is Europe's largest indoor 4K display. We didn't do that just because it's a cool thing to do. We did it because it creates such a great experience as the customer comes through the door, and we can immediately hook them in emotionally. And through the same tool, we also thought about the scent that's in the store. So we designed and pipe in a particularly curated scent into the space, so that the customer, again, is hit with experience as soon as they come in. It's not just about having a click and collect bay at the back of the store. So yeah, I think the retail these days should be thought about in terms of how to bring in that digital element. It should be properly baked in. And I think that's a lot of what Dee was saying, really. It's not about just overlaying some token gestures. It's about properly, strategically, experientially thinking about how it works together.
Thank you, sir. And I see actually in the chat that even a pub's had a mention now in Clitheroe called the Parker's Arms. And you said it's good for food, yeah?
Oh yeah, brilliant. I can recommend that place. Yeah.
I'm loving this. I'm loving all of these recommendations. Clitheroe is on the map today. Thank you for that, sir. And the store looks incredible. So yeah, thank you for the share. Did you want to share who the screen was provided by?
Yeah, we work with a provider called PicSites for the screen. So yeah, they were a great partner for this project. Really good.
Good stuff. Dee, coming back to you, sir. In terms of challenges in digitizing a store, following on from what we were talking about, what are the biggest challenges in digitizing the physical shop whilst making it seamless with the website?
Yeah, this is a good point to know. When we were talking with many companies that were helping us building everything up, connecting all the systems and those kind of things, all the companies says, "Oh, we have a really cool API connection. Everything's smooth and it doesn't take time. Everything goes very easy." And then you start talking with them and they have know-how about the system, and for them it's everything quite easy and it's quite simple to connect everything. And then when you really start implementing it, you see that it takes much, much longer than they say, and it's not so easy as they say. And at the end, it costs double as much they say. So this is one thing that I would say to everyone. I recommend to try to work with the less number of companies as possible, companies that can help you integrating many different dots together, and do not work with different companies, or at least if you don't need to work with 10, 15 different companies, try to keep a really small number of companies, because it takes a lot of time, and this kind of API connections is not so easy as people say. And this was the biggest problem. So when we were talking about we want to do click and collect, like David said, or we want to make it able that customers pay in the store and get the product delivered at home and those kind of things, this should be standard today. Every retailer should have it today. And you also believe that those brands, the companies that helps building the web shop and those kind of things, they also have the solution because they do web shop every day for many companies, different companies. But at the end, you find out that this is not a daily job for them, making those kind of things. So first, really search for companies that have a big know-how on retail, that have already done web shops for retail, and not just web shops for eBay or those kind of things. We are talking about different things, and also brands that are companies that have the experience of the customer on focus. because this is at the end what really counts. If the customer has a bad experience on the journey, if the customer has a bad experience on the communication, for example, he will have a problem. He will not like. He will go to somewhere else. So you need also companies that have this the customer on focus also. Not only you, but everybody should think like this customer centric way. So these are the what the problems that we have. We are now launching our web shop. The web shop will probably be finished next week. But I can say the web shop should have been finished in April this year. And until yet we didn't done this because it was not really ready to launch. There was always something missing. There was always some connection missing that people say, oh, this is so easy. We can do this. We have done a many of it. No, it's not so easy as people say. And you need to really talk with many companies and let they prove that it's really easy. Let they show you how it works. And also try to share with them the risk of the business. Do not take all the risk, share with them and say, if you don't do it, or if it's not so easy as you say, then you have also you need to take a risk. You need to take your part.
Just to pick up on those points as well raised by Dee there, one of the interesting things we found when working on our flagship store was that there were a number of options available to us, ranging from major significant players in their field through to much smaller companies. And we worked very hard to identify the right partners for that, because exactly as Dee says, if you find the wrong people to work with, it really doesn't matter how good the tech is. If they aren't as passionate about this as you are, and they don't see the vision the same way you do, you're basically going to be left on your own once that contract's signed and they've walked away. And we worked really hard to make sure that didn't happen to us. And we worked with, in the end, we compiled a brilliant range of people to work with, but they certainly weren't the first, second, or even 10th people we approached. We worked quite hard to find the right people.
Yeah, this is exactly the point.
Good chat, gents. David, I want to go back to that click and collect comment you made before, when you were saying about, click and collect gets sort of shoved in the back corner and make you walk through the store to the darkest, dingiest bit of the store to go and collect your bits. How do retailers get beyond that really basic click and collect model and position themselves as a truly omni-channel experience?
Well, for me, I think the guiding principle always has to be your USPs, because I think, just as we said earlier, have it just overlaying digital elements into the store really doesn't cut it. I think the starting point has to be, why is that customer coming into your showroom? And also, what are you hoping to add to it? So another kind of watch word I would have, and I think Dee was alluding to this right at the beginning when he was talking about some of the tech that used to be deployed in these kind of environments. I'd really watch out for gimmicks. I think gimmicks are absolutely the wrong thing to do. There can be occasions where having something attention grabbing or just something different can work. But I think that fundamentally the execution of the tech into the store has to be useful. So as I mentioned earlier, the place we started with our store design was really around our digital journey. How is that customer buying a bike from us, and how can we make that better in store? So, for example, when customers enter our store, they're first met with that big 4K high resolution screen, which is not looping kind of salesy messages or promotional messages. That screen is showing emotive lifestyle imagery of the bikes being used in the setting. And the idea is we just want to inspire customers as they walk in to be like, yeah, that's me. That's what I'm here to do. That's what I want to get involved in. And from there, the customer can navigate to the area of the showroom that's right for them with the assistance of one of our colleagues. And it's at that point we start to bring the tech forward again. So each of the bikes has a video looping next to it, which is actually the digital POS. So we don't have any paper POS in this store, which is a really important point, actually. Everything is digital and it feeds directly from our website. So we have the luxury, because we're an online digital first business, we have a very strong internal development team. And that has meant we've been able to develop a lot of the connections between the technology, as Dee was alluding to earlier, ourselves in-house. And that has meant that we've been able to avoid the use of things like CRM systems, which usually sit between digital POS and the place the information lives or the content lives. We feed that directly from our website, but curate it into a format that suits where it's being displayed. And that means that as the customer walks up to that bike, they might not know it's a road bike or a hybrid bike or a mountain bike or whatever, but the video that's being displayed there constantly on loop is showing that bike in use. So straight away, the customer's being shown, if this is what you want to do with your bike, this is the bike for you. From there, we take the customer into our fitting environment, that's again another thing that's very difficult to do online. We can get a customer on a sizing jig, we can make sure the bike's right for them. And of course, all of our bikes are hand built in the UK, every single one of them, whether it's a £500 bike or a £15,000 bike, they're all hand assembled. So we can make sure that bike is just exactly what the customer needs for their fit. And from there, they move into what we call bike builder. So they can choose all of the specification of their bike. So we don't do off the peg bikes where a customer buys product A and product A is always the same, maybe in different sizes or colors. We offer a model of a bike, and from there the customer can choose every single bit that goes on it, from the tires to the saddle to the finishing kit. And that's an area where we bring the tech back in again. So in that area, we have a large touch screen that portrays itself up onto a screen behind it, which makes it a really theatrical kind of sensory experience. And the customer can go through amending their specification with the image of the bike changing behind it to show them what was selected. And from there, they can go on to what we call custom color, which is where we offer the customer the chance to paint that bike in any color they want, from millions and millions of color combinations. And again, we've done that physically and digitally. So there are sprayed tube samples in the store, so they can touch and feel and look at the color in the different light, take it outside if they want to, they can kind of get a feel for the color. But also on that same large touchscreen that has a massive kind of 2 meter wide display behind it, they can then play around with those color combinations live, which we're finding almost creates a bit of a buzz in that area of the store, because customers want to see what other people are creating. So you end up with a kind of a group of people stood around experiencing that at the same time as the customer. So, you know, the tech, the way we've deployed it there, to come back to your question, is fully baked in. It's not just overlaying it and crossing our fingers. It's properly connected to the customer journey and why they're in store.
I love these examples. And I think what shows is that so much thought has gone into the end user. You know, so it's about making the experience better. And the experience gets bandied around so much as a word, and I'm not sure every retailer gets it, but it's a brilliant example, David. Thank you so much. So if it happens on the website, it happens in store and vice versa, basically.
Yeah, correct. I mean, that's a really important thing actually for us, because again, to go back to all of our experience actually working in shop floor, the challenge there is that you spend 70% of your time as a retail colleague actually going in and sorting out POS. You know, you're putting on promotions, you're taking off promotions, you're checking pricing, you're implementing 5,000 price changes that head office pushed through overnight. That's what you spend your time doing. And digital POS solutions are very difficult to get right. And we do have the luxury in our environment of only talking about, you know, 50 products. We're not talking about 50,000 products. But we deliberately did that to free up the store colleagues, so that every minute of time from that colleague in store is spent either making sure the environment is perfect, clean, well presented, perfect, or serving customers. And there's nothing else for those colleagues to do. And that's intentional. We want it like that, because that way the store colleagues are focused on customer service and building their own product knowledge. And that's it. That's all we want from them. And we don't even incentivize them to sell. What we want is our colleagues to give customers great experience, not necessarily close the sale.
Couldn't be clearer. Thank you, sir. Great example. Dee, I'm going to come to you for a audience question, if I may. They haven't given their name, so they're just called anonymous attendees. So thank you, whoever you are, for getting involved. They're asking this question, Dee. Does the wider digitalization of stores mean that the hiring requirements for your businesses have changed or are going to change over the years to come?
Sorry, can you ask again?
So the wider digitalization of stores, does that mean that the hiring requirements, so your need for people or type of people, are changing now or will change over the years to come?
It's changing now. It's definitely changing now. So we know that we need people that have a different know-how. We know that we have people that go further than normal retail today. So what we do, we have a higher wage than normally in retail in Germany, because we look for people that have a special qualification, people that know how to deal with this, people that know how to deal with the customer also and explain them everything. So I do believe you need to think outside of the box, you know, like it's not just somebody that have spent the last 15 years on the retail floor, on the sales floor, that is used to create revenue. Especially in our case, the latest is not a store that is focused on creating revenue. 100% of the sales that we have, we give back to our partners. This is a store focused on experience. So I need people that understand the concept. I'm looking for people that are passionate for the concept. David said something behind it. It's about emotions, about creating emotion to the customers. It's about bringing then and the product together using digital solutions and using what you have in the store. So you also need people that talk with the customer and understand their needs and help them. And sometimes this helps not only on the product, but it's also going online and helping them with a digital solution. So you need people that can solve a problem quite fast, understand the needs of the customer. So I do believe that today we do need different kind of people working on retail. It's not only about people that have spent the last years doing selling product. It's about people that know how to deal with other people. You need to look for people that have a very, very strong communication skill, and this is what we are looking for.
It's a great answer. I mean, leading on from that point, David, I guess customers can do so much research, if you like, online, so they can often walk into your stores, pretty confident that they know everything about your products. Is that a fundamental problem for retailers in general? Sort of knowledgeable customers coming in knowing more than the team from get-go? How do you deal with it at Ribble?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think the very quick answer is it absolutely is a problem if retailers don't do anything about it and don't do anything to address or change because of it. I mean, I know, I'm one of these people who absolutely obsesses over something I'm going to buy. The last car I bought, the last Steven set of headphones I bought, actually, I'd watched every video on the internet about that thing. I knew everything. I'd read every review. I knew it inside out. There wasn't a chance that a store colleague in a generalist retailer could have beat my knowledge on that product. And I kind of went in expecting that, to be honest. I knew that when I asked them questions, they wouldn't know the answer. And that is disappointing, isn't it, when you think about it? And again, I recognize that I'm talking from an advantage position here because we're a single brand retailer. So we don't have 20 brands of bike in our stores that we're trying to sell. But again, that's not by accident, that's intentional. We took a big strategic decision 3 or 4 years ago to move away from all of our branded, third-party branded products and to focus on Ribble. And doing that means that as a customer does walk into our stores, our colleagues do know as much as they do, even if they have digested every single bit of information on the internet. And to go back to my earlier point, the fact that we don't bog our store teams down with constant promotional updates, price changes, all that kind of stuff, means that every minute the store colleagues in the store, they can spend their time learning about the products. And they really do. And to come back to the point you were just talking about there with recruitment and the kind of people we look for, we don't necessarily hire bike experts, even though you might think that's what we would do. Exactly as Dee was saying, what I'm interested in is people who can build a relationship and who are approachable and friendly and will take that kind of learning and self-development approach to, if I don't know the answer to that customer's question, I'm going to find out the answer. So the next time I get asked, that is not happening to me again. And we've been very successful with that. And, an example of that would be, we've actually hired more people from hospitality than we have from the bike industry. And that's not an accident. It's because those people have this instilled into them, to use Dee's word. It's all about experience. And that's what those kind of people know how to deliver. So yes, it is a problem for retailers if they choose to just continue to think that's acceptable. And there are a number, I won't list them now, but there are a number of retailers I personally will not go into because I know that there is no point, because I will already know more than the colleagues do. And that's a massive issue for me.
It's a big issue. I think that hospitality point is a good one because the lines between retail and hospitality are massively blurred now.
Yeah.
There used to be two really distinct industries and you went one way or the other. And I just think retail and hospitality just all sits in one big lump together now because ultimately it's consumer ended. Everyone is serving someone. And so it's interesting to hear you've recruited from that background as well, because they got the goods to back it up with the personality and the attitude, right? So
I would like to add one thing that David said. Like in our case, we have many different brands. So what we do is, every brand has a slot to train our experience experts. We say experience experts, we don't say sales experts. So they are not focused on sales, they're focused on experience. And I think it's already started on the name that the employees have. So our experience experts are trained by each one of the brands. They have 1 hour slot and they talk with our salespeople. They explain them not only about the story behind the product, why they have created this product. They explain why does the company exist, what is the vision behind the company, what they want to reach, what they want to move. So those are the things that we understand and we want to know about, because as you said, customers come to us and they know about the products. But when we start talking about then why the founder has decided to create this product, why does the brand has developed this product on this way, not on the other way, those are the informations that they don't have. And those are the things that we can say, then we can tell the story, and then we can be brand ambassadors at the end. So I completely agree with you, David. It's hospitality people are a really good fit for retail because they understand and know how to deal with people, and you need to train them, tell them about what's about the product, and not only say, here, we have a new product, please sell it.
And this maybe goes without saying these days, I don't know, but I know that might, maybe to some people listening to that might sound a bit kind of airy-fairy or fluffy, or, you know, well, that won't work for my store because we need to sell things. But I can tell you hand on heart, having watched the people with those two approaches do it almost side by side, the experiential way wins 90% of the time. You know, they almost always, that is the better way to do it. And importantly, that customer, okay, even that 10% that don't want to buy because they're not getting the hard sell and getting pushed into a corner, the ones that do will more than make up for it, because those customers that you do sell to through that experiential approach will be more loyal, they'll probably spend more, they'll buy into the brand, they'll tell all their friends about it. You know, it is definitely the way that retail should be focused, I would say.
I remember to the past when I started thinking about the latest. I was the department manager of photo department at MediaMarkt, and beside my department was the coffee department. And I started asking my customers if they would like to try the new espresso machine, the new coffee or latte. And then instead of start talking about photo cameras, I took them to the coffee, gave them a coffee, and start talking about what are you looking for? What's your hobby? What kind of things you like? What kind of pictures you like to take? Are you going to take pictures of nature, or are you going to take portraits? And then I understood the needs of the people. And then I could also deliver then exactly the products they're looking for, because there was this experience that was talking about the customer. We say in the store, my experience experts are not allowed to ask, can I help you? This is the worst question you can do in retail. We ask, why did you came to, hi, nice that you're here. Why did you came to us? Then you find out it was because of out of home campaign they saw, or it's because they saw a product and they would like to know about this product. Then you start understanding the need of the customer. And when you understand the need of the customer, what he's looking for, what is his hobby, what he like, then it's about emotion. You can talk on the same level. Maybe you have the same hobby, and then you can start talking about what you have done last weekend and how the experience on downhill was when you're driving the mountain down. So, and as David said, you build a relationship with the customer, and this customer, they will come back next week just to say hello, to see what is new in your store. And then maybe you have a new accessory and he say, cool, I was looking exactly for this, and he buy it because you could create a relationship with the customer. And the other thing that we see is we almost don't have any return rates in the store, because we give the customer exactly what they're looking for, and they could understand and try the product before they buy it. So the return rates are very, very low, and this is good for the manufacturers and also good for the environment. We cannot forget the environment. So this is understanding how to talk with the customer, having the experience first, as David said. You will probably always win, and you will probably also give the best experience for the customer.
Yeah, I could not agree more, guys. And it's one of my frustrations as a consumer and as a lifetime retailer as well, is that I totally agree. Experience wins every time. And I think one of the things that we're seeing at the moment is the one thing that's being cut in order to save money is experience. And it's just counterproductive. And I'm just seeing it, I'm seeing big retailers make the same mistake over and over again. I think service has actually deteriorated in physical stores because of the pandemic. And this is the time when they should be investing in the front line and maybe trimming down some other parts of the business and really focusing on that front line. So
I'd also say, Darren, I think you're right there, and also that I think tech does have a part to play in that. I think many retailers implement technology and think, oh, my staff don't need to know about features and benefits anymore because there's an iPad over there with them all on, exactly as Dee was saying at the beginning. And I think that does lead to this kind of feeling of, well, I can cut my store teams. I don't need to invest in training because the web's going to do it all for me. And it's completely the opposite in my view.
Yeah, I saw a great experience of that in, I'll name them, what the hell, M&S. So quite an elderly lady asked for some help and was pointed to a touchscreen. And she had absolutely no clue what to do. And I was just like, wow, one of your, M&S, certainly in clothing, they have a slightly older profile, right? And so they, you need to know your audience. And she was just a screen pointed to a screen that she just didn't use because she didn't know how to. And I just thought it was kind of sad to see, actually. It's like a real moment of disconnection with your customer because you think the tech has sorted it out for her. So
and then you have other cases. I think like the concept of Nike and Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles, it's a wonderful concept because they track the online purchase that people are doing, they track the IP of the people, and this way they know exactly what are the products that people love. So in this case, they know what people that lives around Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles like, which kind of shoe they like. So you don't need to have 30 different shoes. They have like 10 different shoes, and these shoes, they have 30 different colors because they know the people that lives there, they love the Air Max and not the other kind of, not the Nike, like Chucks, for example. So this is how technology can really help retailers also. They help you understand your customer better. And what Nike is doing there, it's really amazing. We have also done something in the past for a big sport car manufacturer. We have done as Avant-Garde, not the latest, but as Avant-Garde, the company behind the latest. We have done 13 pop-up stores around the world. They would like to reach new young customers because, like I can say, it was a Porsche. So Porsche would like to reach new young customers. And we have created a store where there was a hologram of a Porsche, and you could get inside and you could hear music. So there was an app. You could decide what are you, like the Porsche 911, or you are the Porsche Panamera, what kind of car you are, like a sport guy or the traditional guy, this kind of things. And then they said, okay, this is the kind of music that best fits to you. So people could hear the music, could enjoy the car. And then they also could book a test drive of the car. So there was a mix between app, the in-store experience, and then people went to the car and they hear the music they search for on the car. And this way you could create a completely holistic experience for them using digital solution, and also finding out about them, because this app, it was a kind of inquiry. So we learn about the people, who are the people that likes the Porsche, which car they kind of like, and how should we approach them.
Thank you for that, and apologies from Scamp for her canine interruption there. As you can hear, she suddenly sprung to life behind me. So I tried to get to the mute button as quick as I could. So apologies if that interrupted anyone in hearing that great content. Guys, we are flying through time, actually, and we're coming into the closing minutes. Thank you so much for the contributions today and what you've given to the panel. It's been small and perfectly formed, but the time has absolutely flown by. Really want to come to each of you for closing comments, really, and to share a top tip or any wisdom that you think is important in this, this subject that we've been covering about reinvigorating sort of the physical space, if you like. Is there anything that you would like to share on behalf of your brands that you think would be useful for our audience? Dee, I'm going to start with you to close off, please.
I think we said most of the important things David and I said already. It's about finding the right people with the right communication skills, investing on training for your team, not doing a case like you have said, Darren, just point to the display and let the customer self-service. We as a retailer, as physical retailer, or we that have a physical retail space, we need to offer the customers what they don't get online. Online, you have a really cool experience with nice pictures, personalizing it. And if you can mix it, David and Ribble are doing a perfect job bringing things together, giving people the chance to personalize a product in the store or online, and this holistic approach. This is very cool. This is important. You need to think about if this step on the customer journey is really necessary or not, if you really need to have to put a digital solution on this step or not, what efforts it takes to build it up and also to maintain this solution, because digital solution is not cheap. And as I said, invest a lot of money on training your people, invest the money on your sales people, because they are the most important thing you have at the end of the store, because they're the one that talks with the customer.
Thank you, Dee. Perfectly said, and appreciate your time on the panel today. It's been really compelling, and I can't wait to see one of your stores in person as well. So thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
David, wrap it up for us. What will your passing words of wisdom?
So I would say focus on the customer and test and learn. I know that's an overused kind of meme at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, fail fast, and there's a lot of good sayings around that kind of thing. But I think it really is true in this space. Things are moving so quick in terms of tech, and also I don't think there is a silver bullet to know what's going to work and what's not. I think you start with the customer, try and understand them as best you can, watch them in your retail spaces, see what they're doing, see where they're getting out the phone, see where they're walking out the store because they didn't get what they want, see where the problem points are, and then think about how tech can address that. But I think the key thing is to test and learn and be very clear about what you're trying to achieve. If it is about experience, figure out some ways to measure that. Dee talked about returns. That's a great example of, well, look, if you can pin down the customers who are coming into your store and having that experience, and then figure out that actually their returns rate is far less. And I would echo that. We see exactly that same thing in our showrooms. That's a great way to be sure that you're doing something right there. The cameras Dee was talking about, we employ similar tech in our stores and also have sensors in any interaction point. So we know if there's a tablet or a screen or whatever that's in a place that just isn't being interacted with, we know about that, and we'll be taking it out. We'll remove that element of the journey because it's just not relevant. It doesn't matter if we like it or not. If the customer isn't using it, we will remove it. And I think that, as I said right at the beginning, I think it's really important that thinking about digitizing stores, if you are like us, a digital brand looking at physical retail, be very clear about why and make sure that's measurable. We can measure that our customers spend more with us in the store. We know they return less. We know they tell more people about their experience. We know they're far more likely to repeat purchase from us. Those are not airy-fairy, experiential kind of magic. They're firm, commercial, hard reality. That means that when we come to justify this, extend it, do more of it, we're very confident. And confidence is important, because if you're not confident, you won't do cool stuff like we've done. You just won't, because you'll dither about and you'll do something middle of the road. And who wants to go to a middle of the road store? You're not going to drive 100 miles to go to an M&S, are you? Excuse me if M&S are on the call. But you may drive 100 miles to come to our Clitheroe showroom, because there's nothing like it in the whole of the UK and pretty much the whole of the world.
Well, guess what? I am so putting that on my list to get down to Clitheroe, and then I'm going to have a pint in the Parkers Arms at the same time as well. So all good. David, the perfect wrap. Thank you both, gentlemen, Dee and David. I mean, the perfect panelists from two really exciting businesses. So that's been a fantastic session. Join us in not long, actually, at 4 o'clock for our final session of the day, our fifth and final session, leveraging data to deliver a personalized customer experience. But thank you so much to the gents here again. Dee, David, you've been stellar panel. Thank you so much. Enjoy your time out, the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.